Dear colleagues and friends, thanks for attending to our briefing. And main reason of this briefing, we want to make public awareness for huge and serious crackdown with human rights, which is continued since from 2013 in Azerbaijan, when President Aliyev decided to participate in third presidential term. And now, since from this period, in our country's situation completely worse by worse every day. And I just want to briefly introduce myself. I'm co-founder and executive director of the Institute for Reporters' Freedom and Safety. This is Azerbaijani-based NGO. Our main focus working as like media watchdog organization in Azerbaijan and South Caucasus region. My colleague Leyla, Yunus, she is well-known colleague of us from Azerbaijan, and she's maybe introduce herself later. I just want to say for this very old friend of us, she's brave leader of our Azerbaijan independent civil society, and now I just want to give floor maybe to Leyla. This floor is yours, and I continue.
Okay.
We have like 10-15 minutes after.
Don't worry. Thanks a lot for coming. So, 24th of November, it will be summit of Eastern Partnership, and leaders of 6 countries, former Soviet countries, Soviet republics, invited to take part in this Eastern Partnership summit. And as we understand, first of all, it will be discussion about economic cooperation and sign the agreement on Eastern Partnership. And when I read all information about this Eastern Partnership Summit, I did not find one sentence about situation with the human rights, about democratic freedoms. Yesterday, a senior EU official said during the video press conference with the journalists from 6 countries of Eastern Partnership about the progress of Azerbaijan in Azerbaijan-EU relation. He noted that since the previous summit in Riga, Azerbaijan has achieved significant progress in Azerbaijan. Where is this progress? He did not explain. The new agreement, negotiation on which are being conducted between European Union and Azerbaijan, mentioned these officials, will be another step forward, and a new stage will begin in our relation. Azerbaijan is an important energy partner of European Union. The issues of energy effectively is a key at the upcoming summit. It may be included in the text of the final document, he said. So, European Union mentioned the significant progress in Azerbaijan, but what exactly we have in this country? Usually, my friend, member of European Parliament, told that when you have a speech, you told a lot about different facts. And maybe it will give more information about the situation in your country. So, shortly, our story. Me and my husband, Yunus, have our human rights activity in Soviet Union. And I was a member of underground movement of national minorities against Bolshevik regime. And one of the founders of the Azerbaijan Popular Front, member of the single woman in this body of this Popular Front. And when we struggle against Soviet system, we have a great solidarity. Baltic states, Estonia, Ukraine, Georgian, Uzbek, Azerbaijan, we was together, and we have solidarity from West, because everybody understands what's mean horrible Soviet system. But today, we stay alone. And the situation in reality is much more horrible. I start to work with a list of political prisoners in Soviet time. And first time I bring the list of political prisoners in London office of Amnesty International in 1989. After the fall of the Soviet Union, we really believe that it stopped repression, no political prison, and we will be improved. But the biggest list, again, was preparing by me in 1996, and it was 716 political prisoners, because Ilham Aliyev, who came to the power in 1993, started political repression. In 1995, we created in Azerbaijan Institute for Peace and Democracy, independent non-government organization, which was busy with the situation with the political prisoners, monitoring the situation with the tortures, and trying to create a dialogue between Azerbaijan and Armenia to achieve peaceful solution. And in 2012, we created first and single common Armenia-Azerbaijan website, public dialogue. And this website was a bridge between our society. And we organized different internet conference between students from both sides, between journalists. We tried that not president to dictator spoke, Ilham Aliyev and Sarkisyan. We tried that community will spoke, and to stop this horrible propaganda which was organized in both countries against Armenians in Azerbaijan and against Azerbaijans in Armenia. And as a result, we was arrested in 2014 as a spy of Armenia. My husband was horrible torture and still today has a problem with the health, because it's necessary that under tortures, as it was in Stalin's time, he signed that he is guilty, he's a spy. And how it was organized that all of us go to prison and stay in prison, and more people stay today. More of us know that Azerbaijan government pay money for the members of Parliament Assembly of Council of Europe to European politicians. And in January 2013, in the session of Parliament Assembly of Council of Europe, was discussed the resolution, political prisoners in Azerbaijan, name of the resolution, which was prepared by the German deputy Christopher Strasser. And during this session, co-rapporteur from Azerbaijan, Spanish Senator Pedro Argamun, 2 times has a speech against this resolution. Luca Valonti against resolution, Pedro Argamun, and Debona Grech from Malta has also speech against resolution. And as a result, we have a great hope for this resolution. At that time, 130 political prisoners stay in prison. But no resolution, and Ilham Aliyev has a great speech that there are no political prisoners in Azerbaijan. Council of Europe, Parliament Assembly of Council of Europe, European deputies switched green line for political repression in Azerbaijan. Shame! First arrest starts in February, at the beginning of February. 4 of February was arrested Tofik Yagublu, the journalist, Ilgar Mamedov, who still stay in prison. And from May till November 2014, all of us go to prison. And it was time, 6 months, when Azerbaijan was the chairman in the Cabinet Ministers of Council of Europe. Wonderful time for repression. As a result, what we have today? No independent, not government organization in Azerbaijan. Still, there are human rights activists, journalists, who stay in prison and now they stay at home prison, or was pardoned, but they cannot continue to work. because there are no official registration of NGO, they cannot receive financial support, for example, from European Development Democracy, and they cannot work. So no one independent non-government organization, activists of civil society, just can work as individuals, and again with a great repression. Then, freedom of speech. No one independent or opposition newspaper. The last one was a newspaper, Freedom Azadlik, which we created in Soviet Union. I myself took part on the registration of this newspaper, and its work from 1989 till 2016. Last year it was closed. Majority of the journalists of this newspaper stayed in prison. Last week they also blocked the independent websites. 12 independent websites was closed just last week. And today we have in our list of political prisoners, I preparing list every time, 146 political prisoners. It was 2 weeks before, but during these 3 days it's 5 people more arrested, so I am working. So each week people arrested. And who is the member of our list of political prisoners? We have a new group of political prisoners, prisoners of Facebook. Can you imagine? In Soviet Union, it was a special article in criminal code, anti-Soviet propaganda. If you also spoke the joke around your friends about Brezhnev, it's your responsibility. You will go to prison 5 years, 10 years. But it was by legislation. Now there are no such article in criminal code of Azerbaijan. But the young students, as Rasul, they write in Facebook that I do not like the speech of our president yesterday, or as Erdogan. And somebody liked it that yes, I also do not like the speech of president. Next day, these young students arrested and put in prison, but no article about criticals. So they go to prison because hooligan, or they put drugs, and they received from 5 till 10 years. We have such bloggers who receive 9, 7 years and still stay in prison. Today, in our list of political prisoners, 14 journalists and bloggers, youth activists, opposition activists, but the majority, it is a peaceful believers. Ordinarily, peaceful believers, Muslims, they go for special articles. Terrorism, coup d'etat. We did special research about this. I was a single woman who was invited to mosque to discussion. And of course I do not put nothing. And we discuss this situation and we come for solution that it is a forced radicalization of the peaceful Muslim, because the biggest group in our list, 89 people, it is the peaceful believers, and the tortures, more great tortures against these people. So today Azerbaijan ignored also the decision of European Court for Human Rights. As I mentioned, Elgar Mamedov, who was arrested 4 February 2013, the European Court has a decision in May 2014 for freedom for him. He still stays in prison. We give attention more to Elgar, but he's not alone who stays in prison after the decision of European Court. Great problem also with the lawyers. It is the last reforms in Azerbaijan legislation that if you are not member of the bar of lawyers, you cannot protect the right of people in the court. and you also cannot write as a letter to the court and so on. But we have 10 million population and more than 900 members of Bar of Lawyers. People stay without any juridical support. And around these 900 members, we have very small group, about 8-10 lawyers who have the courage to be the lawyers of political prisoners. And now it was great pressure against them, and I think all of them will lose their job. And last point, what is very new in our country, and which is more horrible than all of you can imagine. As I mentioned, we're monitoring situation with the torches from 1995. And the result of our monitoring, we every time publish it on our website, and it was about 10 people who died during 1 year as a result of the torches, and the torches during the investigation. But this year, from April till July, 8 people died in, I cannot say in prison, but after arrest. 8. Please bring attention to these pictures. Чуть выше под меня. Mehman Galandarov, he is a blogger. He was arrested because of Facebook. He writes on Facebook. And he was died during the investigation in the special prison number 1, where I stay also in this prison. And he died 28th of April this year. No investigation, of course, official version that he himself put his and died. But I stay in these cameras myself. It's impossible to do it because you are not stay alone, first of all. And secondly, there are no possibility if somebody do not support you to do this. But he was arrested. And he was put in prison, and there's a court decision that he will stay in prison during investigation. But another people, as I mentioned, 7 people: Colonel Saleh, Lieutenant Tamkin, and soldiers Aziz Lee. What about these people? I have only 3 pictures, but I've mentioned that there's 7 people. In May of this year, General Prosecutor Office, Minister of National Security, now it's another name, and Minister of Interior Office give common statement that a big group of Armenian spies working in the Terter region, its provinces near the Karabakh, and we arrested 47 people. We try to have information. If they are arrested, it must be court decision. If they are arrested, where they stay, in what prison. If they are arrested, they can have a lawyer. No information, no court decision, no lawyer, no information where they stay. Then some newspapers published that arrest is continued and was arrested more than 100 people. No information about courts. And then, as I live now in Netherlands and in safe situation, the relatives apply to me, and I have a possibility to speak with some relatives by Skype, only when they left country. Some would go to Georgia, some would stay in Russia. So they told that this guys was arrested suddenly. Also was arrested militaries, colonial soldiers, lieutenants, and civil people. And one was arrested, for example, a colonial May 4, and May 14, his body was brought to the village where he lived and put in cemetery. And relatives cannot also see the body. And in all cases, the same situation. The body bringing to cemetery in the village where they live. They did not give bodies to the relatives that they can see the body, and just put on ground. Why? And it's continued. and the relatives afraid to tell something. Why? So many people, 2-3 journalists tried to write it in their own website in Baku, and immediately they was invited to the General Prosecutor Office and they told it's state secret, keep silent. So I must finish, but come on. This Friday, this horrible dictator, the hands in blood, will come in Brussels and it will sign agreement with him by European Union after significant progress in Azerbaijan. So, if tomorrow in Azerbaijan will be some collapse, will be some war as in Syria, and the big group of migrants as today you have in Europe from Syria will come in Germany, in Netherlands, in Belgium, and new terrorist attack. You know, when I spoke in our Muslims in mosque that West, it is human rights, democracy, ideals, they told me, but why they support our despot? They need only our oil and our gas. They do not recognize us as a human being. They are the same as the Russians. And what I can say now? We try to explain, we try to talk that. We met with the members of OSCE, European Union, that what are you doing? It is a horrible, no future for this country. Stop to support dictatorship. Still no results. So if there will be questions, I will be glad to respond. Thank you for your attention. You see these wonderful pictures of the young boys.
Who died for nothing.
Thank you very much, Leyla. And I'm completely agree with everything what Leyla said. I just want to add a few additional points. First of all, yes, it's very shameful for dictators like Aliyev attend to the summit and European leadership tried to welcome him here just 2 days later. And for this Peace Eastern Partnership Summit, it's shameful when a leader like Aliyev even able to attend to the most important event like this. If you look what's happened in Azerbaijan. Now I think situation in Azerbaijan much worse compared even with like traditional last dictatorship in Europe is Belarus.
Yeah.
When most of my colleagues from civil society still able to operate in Belarus, and sometimes Lukashenko just close their eyes, okay, go and try to do whatever you want. But here we see when Aliyev, without any shame and blame, had just completely closed environment from civil society, and he said this publicly on lots of meetings with high-level European officials, etc. He tried to use like political chantage in the last meeting with when high-level EU officials 2 months ago attended a meeting in Baku, and he said, well, look guys, yeah, Eastern Partnership somehow important for us because it's economic partnership also, and we are really oriented for economic integration with Europe, and we try to make our feedback for European energy diversity with our gas and oil, but please don't speak about us for our domestic issues like human rights, democracy. We have our own way, and now we don't care about even Council of Europe, which is trying to use special mechanism against Azerbaijan when Azerbaijan government now realized judgments by European Court for Human Rights. Now Secretary General and Committee of Ministers started the procedure, and possibly one of the scenarios, Azerbaijan kick it out, and he'd say, okay, we don't need Council of Europe, maybe Council of Europe need us, and nobody lose, even Azerbaijani government. But Aliyev, again, make it left, and he tried to use awareness to show to the Europeans, well, look guys, don't push me. If you push me, I'm going to jump to the Russian side. And that is always worked like this. Even a few days ago, we have very confused calls by the Belgium Brussels police and Burgomaster office. 2 weeks ago, us with our colleagues applied for Brussels authorities and police department to ask floor for organized protest rallies in front of the Europa building when this Eastern Partnership Summit happened this Friday. And yesterday, when we just make like, this Monday we make like a Facebook debate when few thousand people discussed, okay, we should prepare very nice peaceful protest rally for our president, which is probably attended to the summit. We have the call from yesterday from the Belgian police, which is say, for guys, we don't give you floor for 24th, you should organize your protest rallies today for 22nd. And this is shameful when, if before, like week before, we have the very good, successful, responsible way, we are able, but what's happened is definitely for Azerbaijani government, and especially local embassy, called to the Belgian authorities, to Brussels authorities, and says, for guys, look, somebody want to make surprise for president, and president not accepted this. He don't like it, this activities when somebody tried to protest against him. You should care something. Maybe someone just give a floor, and how we recognize indirectly, because these police officials, he says, I look your Facebook like broadcast when we discuss about lozungs, and one of the lozungs he say for Mehman Azadlık, free Mehman is my brothers and famous journalists. He say for what is this Mehman Azadlık? He say for okay man, if you you speak only in English and French, how you recognize what we are talking about? And this is clear, indirect proof for Azerbaijan authorities somehow make influence to decision of even for Brussels authorities, which is try illegally force us and for change our mind, for change protest rallies from 24th, when we try to organize for 11 of from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the Schumann. But with SAFO, we are not accepted your recommendations. We have European, we believe to European values, we believe for European Convention for Human Rights, which is guaranteed for all peoples, implement his rights for free expression, freedom of assembly and association. And we decided with friends, we are organized this process, and we are invited all of these journalists to, with this peaceful and legal protest rallies, we informed the Belgian authorities and Brussels authorities. We try to organize this. We don't want any kind of like provocations there. We just few people, Azerbaijanis or international human rights activists, maybe probably join us. We just try to make awareness campaign and shame Aliyev and also EU officials, which has invited him. Even second things, Leyla, Yunus already talked about repression against civil society and current situation with this non-profit environment when it's law completely forbidden foreign funding, when it's local human rights activists and journalists try to operate as like individuals under serious pressure. But I just want to look to what's happened here in Brussels. It's not only responsibilities from Azerbaijani government for all of these violations, it's also responsibilities for bureaucrats, which is occupies seats here in Brussels and represented him like high-level European Union officials as European Union stakeholders, these guys welcome these tyrants here, and these guys make restriction against his own rules and values. I'm as independent civil society voices which is try to operate it from exile. I see how many bureaucratic problems make it even here for us from European officials. I just have few examples when European Union established this Eastern Partnership mechanism. First of all, European Union also for this most of the main principle equal partnership. But about which kind of equal partnership we are talking about? It's not equal partnership. Summit for civil society happened 1 month before. Forum for Civil Society of Eastern Partnership countries happened months before in the completely different area in Tallinn. And we have produced long-term recommendation, 15 pages from Civil Society Forum, which is nobody read it even. And finally, when we tried to speak with Commissioner Khan and say so, I'm publicly say to Commissioner Khan, why you're talking about this equal partnership, but don't give us floor for participation on this summit and to look to the eyes even to our brave president. Brave, I mean, you know how brave is he. But we say, oh look, it's a completely different platform. But international, intergovernmental organizations have lots of examples, even committee minister of OSCE member states, when each year for ministerial meetings, civil society invited as independent stakeholder, which is implemented and realized all his equal rights. We are participating on the meeting with ministers of all members of OSCE member state. We talk even with Secretary of State of US, Minister of Foreign Affairs from all member states, simple human rights defenders. But here, nobody even give us floor to just organize protest rallies in front of the European building. That is the situation. Another situation with the realities of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijani civil society don't have any chances for development with crowdsourcing, with domestic payments. People not be allowed to even make any sense to NGOs. And we are completely dependent by international donor support, which is all people knows about this. European Union successfully operated in Azerbaijan until 2014 and maybe 2015, and give serious contributions as biggest international donors to support independent civil society. This is brave support, which is, we want to say, thanks for you make it this. But now we are staying alone. Yes, again, we have some kind of mechanisms when European officials say for now we have institute as European Endowment for Democracy, which is somehow try to support us. But again, this is only simple, small possibilities which is not enough to support whole independent voices in Azerbaijan. And when I'm asked, Commissioner Khan, dear Commissioner, could you explain us how we can, civil society in Azerbaijan must be operated if we have only one, small instrument, but instrument which is European Commission and EU External Action Service as neighborhood instrument and democracy and human rights instrument, which is until 2015 implement lots of projects. Now, don't support it, Azerbaijani NGOs. Why you stop it, this support? And he say, we stop support you because we are really care about your security. Because that's what Commissioner Khan said, and we have video evidences of this. It's we make broadcast in Facebook, and Commissioner Khan says, for he care about our security. I say, for Commissioner, we don't have resources even paid for lawyer salaries. My brother, one of the famous human rights defenders, he stayed in the prison 9 months, and all lawyers were pro bono, and we should pay them. even these lawyers don't have any other incomes. How we can operate? And when he say, well, we are here, I say, well, look, you are still operated with public calls with these two instruments in Uzbekistan, or even in Russia. Why you don't care about Uzbekistani human rights defenders or civil society? Do you think for situation in Uzbekistan much, much better? I think it's the same terrible situation like in Azerbaijan. But what I believe, now for European Union start to make choices between two values, economic interest and human rights and democracy, and we look for it, now it's uncomparable attention to economic integration and zero attention for human rights compared with economy. I don't say for European Union don't make any serious attention. European Union will make very strong statement regarding my brother case, which is one of the famous anti-corruption blogger. We know for without situation, without statement like this, maybe my brother killed in the prison, maybe Leyla Yunus killed in the prison if European Union or if European Parliament don't make a statement. But these people, which is very well-known people, another less well-known person, blogger, Mehman Galandar, died in the prison. He arrested just 1 week before my brother arrested. He arrested at 27 February. My brother arrested of 3rd of March of this year. And just a few months later, Mehman Galandar died in the hospital. As like Magnitsky or any other well-known people in Russia. And nobody responds for this. And again, now civil society in Azerbaijan needs strong support, not only like support of the on political level, which is also not too much what we see. Also principal support with when European Union able to show political will, when European Union should be make serious informational exchange with us as civil society. Azerbaijan is civil society don't be attend on any kind of level of this negotiational process when government and Azerbaijan government and European officials started on the February of this year new process of this strategic agreement. Now what we look, even compared with our neighbor, when European Union published publicly on the website all of text of this agreement, draft of this agreement, European Union don't make same thing with Azerbaijan. We ask Commissioner Khan again for why you do it with Armenia this, and Azerbaijan civil society completely disclosed of this process. Why? Why this happened, this double standard? Please explain. And now the situation when EU officials says, okay, we decide to don't support the civil society because this is problematical, because this is, you have restricted rules, but these restricted rules which is adopted by dictator, which is changed constitution as like he want. And this is shameful for us. Just few days ago, 10 days ago, I traveled to the Johannesburg and participated in international investigative journalism conference. And I spent like 1 day, so 12th of November, in cross-border territory in Zimbabwe. And the guy from Johannesburg just picked me up together with friends to the cross-border territory, and we looked to the wild animals, etc. And I talked with this man for, listen, I'm from the same country when one person, one ruling family stay on the ruling for dozens of years. More than 13 years is total. And say for a year we have our own dictators, like which stay on the floor 40 years. And we returned back to Johannesburg at evening, and when I left the car, I said, for no words, man, 1 day your people just kick it up to your dictator, even in all states. And a day later, when I wake it up, just one night, next morning, when I wake up, I read the news when Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwean dictator, which is going to provide his ruling floor to his own wife as like a vice president position to share this high-level position with her own wife, family members. Even military junta in Zimbabwe not accepted this. And even military junta says, well, enough is enough. And now, in Azerbaijan it's only happened when president from Council of Member States, Council of Europe Member States, implement these shameful changes in constitutions, which is completely against all European values. When it cuts these limits for presidential terms, now we have constitution when Aliyev or every member of his family is able to stay without any limits on the ruling floor, and when situation with this transforming ruling power from inside the one family happened only in one movie of this House of Cards, and in Azerbaijan, even this is not accepted by Zimbabwean community, but Zimbabwean society, now this guy, after 2 days, welcomed here, and this guy tried to use his influence to push even for like limited our rights even here in the heart of the Euro, and we know how we do it. These guys, we look all of these landromat stories. When Azerbaijani government spent millions, he used European banking systems for completely illegal financial transactions, when only from 2012 until 2014, 16,000 transactions realized from few European banks with 4 fake companies. When Azerbaijani state companies involved with this money laundering, and European politicians, even from Germany, from ruling party, one of the Edward Littner or Luca Valonte or other one like Petro Agramont or any others participated in this dirty process, and this is shameful when we have the proofs how government operates. And now it's easily for this government, even with his lobbyists here in Brussels, to push to any intergovernmental or state official bodies to say, for guys, just try to make something with these guys, give us another place, or give another date for organized process. At least don't want to see any kind of negative pictures when he attended to the summit. We need everything like tip-top, for everything looks good, and when he left it, this guy is able to continue to make processes. Here I just want to stop my a bit maybe emotional intervention, but again, as Leyla says, 160 political prisoners still sit in the prisons. More than our colleagues not able to leave the country. More of the investigative journalists, human rights defenders, even political party activists don't able to have access even for receive this travel document or passport. More of them have travel bans. And in this situation, we have only one chance to share our expression with you and ask more and strong support. And we want to say it again. We wait for more strong support from the European Union. We wait more strong support for our international partners, which is based here in Brussels. And again, if continued like this, maybe few years later, no one even able to just even make something, even here, because what we see now, day by day, Aliyev and his team stay stronger and stronger, is welcomed in everywhere, not only in Brussels. In UN, he traveled with his family, etc. But now we can't see any kind of perspective from our partners in Azerbaijan, because what we see now, government changed this law with legal protections. Just yesterday, one of the famous lawyers which has participated on this, most of the well-known political cases, Yalchin and Romanov, he kicked out from bar association. Now 3 lawyers also waited same thing, and most of our people, like Ilham Aliyev or my brother Mehman Hüseynov, still in prison, and we need just support and solidarity from EU, and we ask EU just respect first for these own values. We don't ask for any kind of different things. We just ask for, please, EU, check your obligation, check your values, and look with whom you are working. Azerbaijani contribution to European energy market is just like 1% of all gas market, and this is price which is Azerbaijani peoples should pay for restrictions which we have and repressions which we have last 20 years in our country. Thanks. And now I just give you floor, and maybe some of our friends want to join from Azerbaijan, because most of the people.
Or questions.
Or questions.
Yes.
So you would say that European politicians were really complicit or are complicit in what is happening in the country?
Yes, because if Azerbaijan will not be member of OSCE, Council of Europe, do not take part in this Eastern Partnership with the EU, if our dictator and despot will not invite as a colleague in Berlin, in Paris, in London, we will say, okay, you do not invite North Korea or Burma, no? But Angela Merkel, French president, invited dictator, support him as colleagues and so on. And when he returned, he told that, you see, everything is okay. We achieved, we spent these billions, and we have great lobby in Europe now, and also in the United States. And the situation in Azerbaijan, coming to Turkmenistan, we are three countries together for all history, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. But if after the fall of Soviet Union, it will be more common between three countries, now Georgia improve. In Armenia, we have no political prisoners. But Azerbaijan just go down. No freedom of speech at all. And why? In Eastern Partnership, these three countries in the same stage. Why? No reaction, no sanction, nothing. Just now, in United States, start think about Global Magnitsky Act. But maybe it's also important to think about such sanction in Europe. I think it is a responsibility of European politicians also for this part of the world. If you have such program of Eastern Partnership, so you declare that it's partnership. But with whom partnership? With the criminal mafiosi? Or with the society, with the people, with the country? Partnership with whom? So we want that it will be really equal rights, partnership, because we want be improve us also as our friends in another countries, Moldova, Armenia, Georgia, also in Belarus. Emin told now there are no such big number of political prisoners, but in Azerbaijan everything now crossed down. And as I mentioned, it starts because European Union support dictator. If in 2013 this resolution, political prisoners will be adopted, we did not stay in prison. And Mehman now not be in prison, and it not be such horrible repression. So I think it's important to have two lists. One list of the criminals in power in Azerbaijan who touch people, killed people, and one list about criminal politicians in Europe who take money from this bloody dictator.
I just add some point. Yes, now what we look, even Canada start implement same law, like Global Magnitsky Act, and now we work with our partners in US, it's from civil society to make this list, but simultaneously the same process should start here in Europe, European Parliament adopted two important resolutions. When one of in 2015 September, when it's put lots of names, including issues with Ilham Aliyev, which is judgment by the European Court for Human Rights, not implemented still until today. And second one, just in this May, when one of the investigative journalists, which is worked from exile, he kidnapped in middle of Tbilisi and with attendance of Azerbaijan diplomatic missions and security forces, he illegally put it to the luggage of diplomatic car and delivered it to the Azerbaijan. When he still stay in detention, and probably after the court, he arrested for few fake criminal charges. But again, now Aliyev and his system tried to push to the civil society leaders, not only in Azerbaijan, also outside of Azerbaijan. When we have these illegal cross-border operations, when some of the Azerbaijani activists arrested by Interpol Red Notice, as like our friends and colleagues which is detained in Ukraine for Red Notice for Azerbaijani government. This is oppositional journalist. Even he's escaped from Azerbaijan and adopted in Netherlands, and now he's Netherlands citizen. He's arrested, detained in the Borispol airport, stay a few weeks in the detention center, and now he's under house arrest, still in Kiev. Aliyev used this Interpol instrument. Aliyev tried to arrest or make it like some kind of problem for trial, for even from Leyla, Yunus, from other human rights defenders and activists, which is based in exile in Europe. We have somehow indirect leaks from Azerbaijan special forces try to organize some kind of violations against well-known activists, which is based in Europe. And everything now, this pressure transforming from, not from Azerbaijan or his cross-border country, even transforming this pressure to European institution, from European Union territory, when Azerbaijani government tried to do whatever he wants. And again, if European Union or European Parliament don't make serious and fast steps to prevent these violations, we know for 28th of November, European Parliament started hearing regarding the corruption issues, which is Azerbaijan and Slovakia involved, and this is hearings after Azerbaijan Landramat story. And we have some hopes when European Parliament try to do something. And now what we look is some unprecedented cases when journalists, which is investigated serious high-level corruption interests between Azerbaijan and Maltese government. She's killed months ago at 16th of October in Malta, Daphne Caruana. And Maltese government don't do anything for serious investigation. That's what is shown. We know for some investigative journalist group try to make his alternative investigation, but we make awareness also, try to make awareness for also for this case, because we believe Azerbaijani government has somehow interest, and she worked on the serious investigations, and she tragically killed in the middle of Europe, in Malta, which is have chairmanship in the European Union. This is shameful. And after 1 month, all people here, even in Brussels, forget not only journalists in Azerbaijan, you are forget, guys, journalists which is killed and which is investigated mafia relations between Maltese government and Azerbaijani government. And you should investigate all of these corruption stories, started from her case and continued under small cases, which is what we look for. Only 3 billion is just small peanuts and part of the iceberg what we find. And dozens investigation by OCCRP, by ICFJ, which is shows how government uses this international environment for money laundering, for by political influence, for everything. Here in Europe, in the US, in the most developed part of the world. So, if
just a second, please.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Orduhan Teymurhan. You know that I'm a human rights activist, and also I'm all the time in the activities against the dictatorship in Azerbaijan. And recently, just in February, I was in Köln at the demonstration against the dictatorship, and that day all my family was arrested, 12 members, and a granddaughter, 2 years old, of my sister was also arrested. And I just want to add one thing, that the Azerbaijani government and Aliyev's system is not only against the people who directly fight against the dictatorship, but they try for our activities out of Azerbaijan, who is doing these things, for example, demonstrations and free speech as a journalist, and they try to get us silent through our families. They just, I can give you many examples. For example, Emin and Habib Muntazir, and many of these activists are journalists. Families get always arrested and tortured, that they want to give an information that we can get you here in Azerbaijan. Even if the European Union don't see this and still make partnership with the dictator Aliyev, it means directly they are working together. And I can say, I can give you many examples that we are here. For example, myself, 10 years already I'm as a human rights activist in Europe, and I have made maybe more than 200, 300 demonstrations to demonstrate that Aliyev is a dictator and he made an authoritarian regime in Azerbaijan. What is regime? For example, Aliyev gets angry when they say you are a dictator. If somebody is getting 4 or 5 members of government in the room and says, this is my wife Mehriban Aliyev and she will be the vice president of the country, this is not a dictator? Well, how can he prove that he's a dictator? So, did he make any referendum? The referendums he made about the constitution of Azerbaijan, he's just spitting on the constitution, and European Union say nothing. And even with this action that he nominated his wife as a vice president, he didn't ask anyone, and even from the European Union didn't get any reaction. And when my family was arrested, and 2-year-old child of my sister and grandchild even, and I called many presses and newspapers and televisions and radios in Holland, because I'm Dutch citizen already 30 years. And even being a Dutch citizen, I was in 2009 in Azerbaijan in prison. Even the Dutch government called me, and the honorary consul came to my cell, said, you know what, we are not going to put down our business relations with the government of Aliyev. You can give any bribes and money, you can get yourself out of this prison, otherwise you will get 7 years prison. And after that, I called to these newspapers in February and everywhere, and they said, you know what, there is no headline. I said, what kind of headline you need if 2-year-old child in prison? And after that, they pushed my family to step out of my family. They had to refuse giving a letter to president, sign it, that all my family members had to sign the letter that they are not my family anymore. Can you imagine what kind of dictatorship can be? Can you imagine that people say, it's not my brother, and he signs a letter and sends to president, be happy, president, he's not anymore our brother, and he's against Azerbaijan, he's against Azerbaijani government, and he's a enemy of the country. So these kind of things, the European Union look like that, and then the people, 10 million of people just run from Azerbaijan. I get every day 20, 30 letters from my citizens from Azerbaijan. How can I flee the country? Because it's not anymore life here for us. You can't open your mouth. You don't get any salaries because the doctors get 150 euro a month, and the pension monthly paid 70 euros a month, and people can't say anything. And Aliyev pumps this money to European Union to stay more on as a president and as a dictator. And the European Union accept this all money because we know a lot of cases that the European parliamentary members took money from Aliyev. What kind of proofs and need the European Union to stop dealing with this dictator, despot? I don't know. I'm full of these things. I can hours talk about this, and unfortunately, the European Union and the politics of the European Union don't hear us. I leave it. As long as the money comes in, we don't say to Aliyev to give us money. He gives it. That's it.
We have a connection with one of the famous Azerbaijani journalists and the head of the first and last independent news agency, which is recently arrested, and now he's released after strong international pressure. But we want to give the floor to Ilham Aliyev, and please, Ilham Bey.
Так, туда нельзя? Туда нельзя, не получается.
Hello? Hello? We can't hear you.
He was arrested 23 of August, and because of tax and so. Подожди, я пойду к
нему. Yes, Mehman Bey, floor is yours. Пожалуйста, говорите. Mehman, если вы будете на русском говорить или на английском, как хотите, пожалуйста.
На русском, наверное.
Окей.
Да.
Пожалуйста, вас слушаю. Что вы вот...
Добрый день, вас приветствую. Я хочу отметить, что ситуация со свободой слова в Азербайджане сегодня критическая.
Situation is very critical today. Да, пожалуйста.
Да, критическая. И об этом свидетельствует тот факт, что вот в последнее время Совет прессы активно стал обращаться в правоохранительные органы с требованием, даже вот так я скажу, с требованием о закрытии блокировки сайтов. И эти требования, в принципе, незаконны и противоречат самому положению уставу Совета прессы. Совет прессы мы создавали в 2003 году как орган, который должен быть стать посредником между властью, обществом и средствами массовой информации. Мы рассматривали его как досудебным органом, то есть все проблемы, все конфликты, которые могли бы возникнуть между тремя этими, скажем, структурами общества, должны были решаться вот прессы. Это первое. Второе, Совет прессы должен был заниматься развитием средств массовой информации и свобод, и в первую очередь обеспечением свободы, и повышением качества и так далее. То есть это был орган самоуправления. Но, к сожалению, я бы сказал так, что Совет прессы сегодняшний, который сегодня действует, он стал выполнять совершенно другие функции. То есть карательные.
Можно мы сейчас переведем? Значит, we have one unit like press council, which is recently government started to use it for pressure against independent online magazines. And if before we have started from this year's government started to use court system to block the website, now the government started to use this non-profit organization, which is established for self-regulations in media environment, but now this instrument completely under government control, and even government start to use this instrument to block independent voices, and this unit start to make some kind of illegal decisions which is completely against rules and against our obligations, and that's it shows for government start to use each even small possibilities to block the independent voices, including in the online environment. Да, пожалуйста.
То есть на основании сегодня в Азербайджане включен такой механизм, когда Совет прессы обращается, значит, в правоохранительные органы о блокировке сайтов, Министерство связи блокирует, и значит, правоохранительные органы возбуждают какие-то уголовные дела или вызывают на беседу журналистов, оказывают давление. Последний раз, значит, одновременно, вот неделю назад, 15 сайтов одновременно были блокированы.
Just last week, approximately 15 websites blocked without any court decision, and government started to use a different type of the pressure when head of these websites invited for investigation for somehow for prophylactic conversation. When under pressure, these high-level security officials try to make influence to stop any kind of criticism. И вот
как... За последние 2 года, значит, 16-17 год, были ужесточены правила вещания в интернет-деятельности средств массовой информации, и не только средств, и в том числе и социальных сетей, и блогеров, и так далее. То есть эти изменения в законодательстве позволяют Министерству связи блокировать сайты, судам принимать решения о запрете на их деятельность, но там четко указано, что если это наносит ущерб государственной безопасности, государственным секретам, разжигать национальную или религиозную рознь, то есть эти 15 сайтов, которые были блокированы, они этих положений закона не нарушали. Они писали о виллах там членов Совета прессы, об их машинах, дорогих, которые они обладают, которых даже не имеют у нас очень даже богатые люди. Вот. Они писали о других негативах, и писали о чиновниках, о коррупции. И вот Совет прессы в данном случае выступил вот инструментом подавления этих средств массовой информации.
Last 2 years, government completely changed the law, which and this law now very restricted. But even according to this law, it's only website which is share some kind of information which is qualified like state interest should be closed according to this law. But this website don't write anything about this state secrets. This website wrote about corruption facts, about illegal property, and about expensive real estates or cars of these officials, even not about like presidents or very top high-level officials, but about small executive power members of this press council, etc. That looks like for now under pressure not only sources which is try to criticize the high-level official, but also resources which is wrote information about the small bribery or about corruption interests of the less high-level officials. А как, Мехманбей, вот было бы интересно по аудитории, что реакции вот в преддверии саммита, что вы думаете по этому саммиту, вот, пожалуйста, как бы в двух минутах.
Думаю, плохо. Почему? Потому что накануне была информация Евросоюза о том, что якобы за последний период после Рижского саммита 2015 года, якобы положительные сдвиги произошли в отношениях. Я не знаю, в чем это. Больше нефти стали получать они оттуда. Или больше икры. О чем идет речь? О каких положительных сдвигах? Когда говорим об отношениях. Никаких положительных, только в отношениях, во всех направлениях улучшений. Я так вижу ситуацию. Я работаю в области средств массовой информации, конкретно, так сказать, свобода слова и так далее. То есть у нас никаких улучшений нет. И как показывает, вот я вам примеры привожу, ухудшение. И то же самое ситуация в других направлениях. Вот, пожалуйста, сегодня тоже накануне приняли закон о том, что значит, юристы не могут участвовать на судебных заседаниях. А у нас не хватает адвокатов.
Я сейчас это переведу. Значит, Mehman just repeated the same thing which is Leyla says before. He says we are a bit confused for high-level European officials just told to media for since from summit in Riga after 2015 we have some kind of good development on this cooperations, and which kind of development he don't understand. And he's joking, maybe you received more black caviar or more than oil, and maybe this it's serious development, but he can't see any development and situation worse and worse, and he repeated the same thing, which now we have a serious problem with legal protection when government changed just 4 months ago this law regarding the representative rights of in court system, when only bar members able to participate in criminal cases, even in administrative cases. Да, пожалуйста, еще.
Да, то есть я хочу сказать, что всего на 10 миллионов населения 900 адвокатов. Из них только 9 адвокатов выходили на политические процессы. А теперь их уже из коллеги адвокатов всех увольняют. Вот, и практически запретили, ликвидировали институт юристов, которые могли сейчас в судах, и теперь вообще граждане стали беззащитными.
It's just same thing what Leyla says, like 900 bar members, but from these 900 bar members, only 9 lawyers participated in the politically motivated cases. Like 9 lawyers for these 160 political prisoners, because it's like zero. It's not even no 1% of the lawyers able to participate even on politically motivated cases, and especially after last pressure when just recently, yesterday, one famous lawyer kicked out from bar members, another ones also start to think for participated in the politically motivated trials or not. У вас есть минута, вот мы сейчас хотим, что у вас, вы же ожидаете от Европейского Союза. Вот вы встречались с послами Евросоюза, которые 2 недели назад приезжали. Вот что они вам сказали и какие ваши ожидания?
Мои ожидания, честно говоря, ничего я позитивного не жду. Вот.
А что вам послы сказали, которые были в Баку?
Подписывать в этот раз соглашение, но последняя информация, что они перебросили на следующий год, это означает, что ничего хорошего не будет. По крайней мере, Азербайджан с Арменией все время как мы рядом шли. Нас принимали вместе с Европой, другие институты. И это показатель того, что ничего хорошего пока ждать не стоит. Я ничего от этого саммита не ожидаю, потому что наши власти сегодня не готовы интегрироваться в европейское пространство. Когда мы говорим пространство не географическое, а нравственное, политическое и так далее.
Okay. Спасибо большое. Just Mehman says we are asking his expectation regarding this future summit. What do you think? Because he met 2 weeks ago with big delegations as like civil society leader in Azerbaijan. He met with European ambassador missions, which is attend to meetings, which is meet with few independent civil society leaders, with political opposition, and with president and parliament members in Azerbaijan. And I'm asking his expectations. Therefore, we don't have any positive expectations. We believe for nothing happened on this summit seriously and positive for Azerbaijan. Even in Armenia have much more strong positive perspective regarding this cooperation. And he said because we don't have expectation, because Azerbaijan don't have any kind of integration, like not like geographical integration to the Europe, even like cultural and mental or value integration, because we are not respected. Like when you say we, are like Azerbaijani government, not respected these values, and that's why I say you don't wait any kind of, you don't have any kind of hopes, and probably what after this negotiation with mission of this for Eastern Partnership, you think for maybe probably something happen for next year or year later, but not now. If you anyone have questions to Mehman Aliyev, because he only single person which is able to connect from Baku, please ask. But if not, we just try to make conclusion. Because Mehman Bey, есть ли что-то у вас, что вы хотите еще сказать? И если нет, мы как бы можем подытожить.
Хочу что сказать? Хочу сказать, что опять я говорю, что ситуация по всем направлениям ухудшается.
И что вы хотите от Евросоюза? Что вы хотите от Европейского Союза, то есть от чиновников здесь, в Брюсселе? Что они должны сделать, по-вашему?
Что и азербайджанское общество, то есть надо иметь принципиальные позиции. Вот и все. Я хочу принципиальности, больше ничего.
We just wait for principal positions and will from European officials and representatives from European officials. That's what we needed. That it means like we need for.
Мы хотим, я вам скажу так, мы хотим.
Да.
Мы хотим, чтобы они отстаивали европейские ценности так, как мы их здесь отстаиваем.
He wants for European officials should be protect European values as like independent civil society protects these European values and try to protect these values in Azerbaijan under serious pressure and with these strong principles. That's what he wanted. Спасибо большое, Mehman Bey, and большое спасибо.
Всем привет. И кругу жизни побольше.
So that's what Mehman Aliyev says, and again, regarding maybe some of you don't know his case, Mehman Aliyev established this independent news agency, and only one reason why he's released, this is serious and strong call for sanctions in the US Senate and Congress. Azerbaijani government understands only one simple language, language of pressure and sanctions. That's what these guys clearly understand. And if European officials, as like Commissioner Hahn says, we try sometimes to use like silence diplomacy. Silence diplomacy with Aliyev doesn't work, believe me. And as like civil society activists, which have experience since from 2001 until today, inside the country I'm operated until 2014, and tried to make my job until last moment when I understand for something happened with me seriously and decided to escape to Swiss embassy and spent 10 months in isolation in the Swiss embassy. And when I'm, after negotiations between Swiss government and Azerbaijani government, able to leave the country, even Aliyev just simply annulate my citizenship. He just even is not happy for when some of like me still able to make any kind of intervention regarding the human rights, and sometimes Azerbaijani diplomats in UN, etc. say, why you criticize you are not more Azerbaijani citizens. And that's situations when this government used propaganda against all of us, when governments started using this state media against independent voices in exile, against Leyla Yunus, against her husband Arif, against all of us. They say, blame it us like we are no patriot, we are enemies, we are like part of some kind of Armenian lobbyists, etc. Which is pro-Armenian. It's like simple stuff which is government repeated last few years. And again, we still waited support not only from EU officials, we also have hopes, and we believe we need more international cooperation with our partners. And if some of you guys just want to make any interventions from civil society representative, if it's not, I give floor for conclusion for Leyla, and after, please.
Thank you, Emin. Thank you for everybody who are here. As I mentioned, we struggle about 30 years. We have great hope after the fall of the Soviet Union. Then we have dictator. Then we became member of Council of Europe. And we have 21 obligation before Council of Europe. And again, we have some hope.
Again?
Again, because Council of Europe, 21 obligation, we're monitoring, and from 21 obligation, just 4 fulfillment completely. And others just on the paper or just ignored. So it's horrible to say that now, after so many years of independent country, we will come to horrible authoritarian system and some kinds as in Middle Ages. Because as I mentioned, in Soviet Union it was rule of law. Horrible law, but it was rule of law. But now, no rule of law at all. And horrible juridical system, no independent juridical system. And when I read in resolution of Council of Europe, which was adopted not in 3 or 4 years ago, this October 11, that there are improvement in juridical system and 60% of judges are elected free. What I can say, I'm working with this juridical system. It is one part of our job of our Institute of Peace and Democracy. So we need great support, we need great solidarity, and first of all, I think from mass media also, because journalists in Europe, in the world, the articles which they published about real situation, it's great support for all of us, for people who struggle in Azerbaijan, and for all of us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, dear friends, and we are appreciated for even you officials and our partners from civil society and representatives from donor community and media also attended to this event. We just want to say so. Thanks a lot, and we are making this strong criticism, even like sometimes self-criticism, for more strong respect from our joint value, because we believe for these values and issues why we criticize the current situation, because we believe and we have hopes for its possible change situation. Even what we see for how Azerbaijan government is spending billions of dollars with this caviar diplomacy, not able to cover these situations and express to international community for everything perfect, even with small resources, with few people in Azerbaijan or outside in Azerbaijan, with few activists here in Europe, we're able to destroy these propagandas environments somehow. But again, we need your support and solidarity, and we invited all of you guys to this rally, which is part of our rights, which is part of our values, like, which is one of the part of our rights for freedom of assembly and association and expressions, which is 3 most important fundamental rights. We organize our peaceful process rallies in front of the Europa building when at 24th of November started this summit. This Friday at 11 a.m. and the issues is also maybe we produce some cakes, because it's also issues for it's birthday of Mehman Huseynov. We celebrated on this place of Shuman, one of the famous civil society representative and one of the famous journalists' birthday, as like before we celebrated birthday of Khadija Ismailova or Leyla Yunus or any other well-known political prisoners. We have this tradition, which is a little bit sudden, but we try to show our support to them, and we are invited you to this improvisation for Mehman Huseynov's birthday in front of the Europa building at 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. And we hope we are realize our fundamental rights without any problems, just here in the heart of the Europe. Thanks again.